Hi, welcome back to my channel with me Didi here in ELV English Learning video. In today's lesson, I'm going to talk about clauses. First of all, let me write a definition of a clause. A clause is a group of words that consist of at least a subject and a verb. Alright? So I will underline this, at least a subject and a verb. If you read other sources like books or those from other websites in internet, you will probably find that there is an additional definition of a clause, that is a group of words that consists of at least a subject and a verb that forms a grammatical unit. A grammatical unit actually refers to the fact that a clause should be able to form full meaning. Now, in English, there are two types of clauses. Okay? There are two types of clauses. First is an independent clause, and the other one is a dependent clause. An independent clause is also known as a main clause, while a dependent clause is also known as a subordinate clause. Let me tell you the differences. An independent clause, as its name implies, independent. So you can imagine if somebody is independent, he or she is free and can stand alone. He or she doesn't depend on any other people or things to continue his living. So the same applies for an independent clause. It can stand alone. So an independent clause, it can stand alone, or it can stand on its own. Okay? Because it can stand on its own, an independent clause is also called as a sentence. So in other words, we can say that an independent clause can also be called as a sentence. What about the dependent clause? A dependent clause is the opposite. Dependent means somebody or something is not free. So a dependent clause is a clause that cannot stand alone. So it cannot stand on its own. In other words, it always needs the independent clause to form complete sentences. Alright? By this, a dependent clause, although it has a subject and a verb, it can never be called, or it can never be used as a sentence. Alright? So an independent clause, we just can say, or we just can write that independent clause consists of a subject and a verb, while a dependent clause, as it cannot stand alone, okay, although it has a subject and a verb here, something that makes a dependent clause cannot stand on its own is the presence of conjunction. Okay, sorry. I need some space here. What makes a dependent clause depends on the main clause, or the independent clause is the presence of conjunction. Conjunction, subject, and verb. Okay? Both are clauses, that is why they consist of a subject and a verb. Subject and a verb. But the dependent clause has a conjunction in it, and that the presence of this conjunction makes it always need the independent clause. That is why it can never stand alone. Okay? So let me write several examples here. Okay. After Simon had left the party, Bob came. Okay, this is one sentence that consists of two clauses. Now, can you tell me which is the independent clause and which is the dependent clause? Okay, all right. Bob came. This is actually the main clause or the independent clause. Okay, as you see, it consists of a subject and a verb. While after Simon had left the party, this is the dependent clause. Okay, so Simon, this is the subject, had left, this is the verb, and after here is the conjunction. Okay, to prove why a dependent clause cannot stand alone and why an independent clause can stand alone, let us, for example, remove this. Okay, Bob came. Why is this an independent clause? Because when I say Bob came, it has a full meaning. But let's remove this independent clause, and then we just have after Simon had left the party, the period or full stop. Then what do you think? Of course, the meaning is not fully completed. Imagine that somebody comes to us and then say, after Simon had left the party, then he goes away. Of course, there's a question coming to our mind. Something should be completed in order this sentence is understandable. So after Simon had left the party is simply a dependent clause. Okay? So this conjunction, once again, makes this clause dependent on the independent clause. Alright? So if you remove the position, if you change the position, Bob came after Simon had left the party, the meaning is just the same. The difference is that you just switch the position. And the other difference is that when you put the dependent clause at the beginning of your sentence, there should be a comma. A comma. So you have to put a comma that separates the two clauses. But if you put the independent clause or the main clause at the beginning of your sentence, then you don't have to put a comma between the two clauses. Alright? I think that's all for my explanation today. Hopefully this video is really helpful to you. And please subscribe to my channel and like this video. If you have questions, please comment on the space below. I will try my best to answer your question. Thank you very much. See you again in the next video. In that video, I'm going to talk about noun clauses. See you.